right, man. So, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time out your day to join us today on Big Time Bullies. So, I'll let you introduce yourself, man.
I'm Fred Duran from Primo Line Kennels. We're located in Southern California, Ventura County, Oxnard, California. Primo Line is actually started by my brother, my partner. He doesn't really like the camera or the shine too much, so I get to kind of be the face sometimes. His name's Anthony Sana. He came up with the name Primo Line Kennels back in 2003, 2004. So it's been a while, man. We've been around quite a long time, and I think the Primo is probably the Primo part of Primo Line name is probably nobody ever, I guess, realizes what it is. Like Primo, like prime, like like sought after, you know what I mean? Like So, and that's what we try to do is strive for, we strive for excellence. We know perfection is a difficult thing to achieve where in this industry and in this art and what we do. But we're going to do everything we can, and we've tried to do everything we can to put ourselves in a position to.
Okay, so were you guys doing any other breeding, like of other breeds of dogs? How did it start? Did it start with American Bullies?
No, yeah, it was like big, like I guess XL, double XL type. You know what I mean? Back then it was like a lot of like the Iron Cross lines and gray line iron through the Iron Cross stuff, and what else was it? Like some King Lion, West Side Monster stuff, real old school stuff. So we're into, we started with kind of bigger dogs, and as time progressed, I ran into a couple of issues with the bigger dogs and the blood and stuff that I felt like could be avoided by breeding different dogs, or you know what I mean, or by breeding different,
Right.
So I kind of chalked it up, so to say, and then kind of started over with the Saki stuff.
Were you into shows?
Hardly. Yeah. I mean, we would go to shows like the big Cinco de Mayo shows. I've been going to the Cinco de Mayo show in California since I don't know how long, man. I can't remember even the last time. I remember, I think it was like my second or third Cinco de Mayo show, and my little boy was born in March. My oldest, he was born in March, and that year in May, I had him like in one of those baby Bjorns, like at Cinco de Mayo. So he was like, 5, 6, 7 weeks old or something like that. Yeah. So, and he's 14 now. So I've been, you know what I mean? I've been going to Cinco de Mayo for a really long time. It was a lot different then because there was more. The bigger dogs were more prevalent. Right. Like it was more, you see more big dogs than you did like pocket size or standard style dogs like back then, and kind of the roles have kind of reversed in the sense now. Yeah, but that's a big difference as to, how it was then. And everybody was new then, it wasn't so formal. It wasn't so competitive. The breed was still kind of forming, and the ABKC was still just kind of, digging their toes in. So it's a little bit different, a lot more laid back. I could say a lot more laid back. And it's not a bad thing, but to see the growth in the registry, in the ABKC at least, is a really cool thing to have been around to be able to watch it grow.
So back then when you started, how did you base the start of your program that you were looking for, as far as a dog that you might have seen that you liked?
It's more like to a different style of dog, instead of like a big 130-pound dog. Like I was more like, okay, well, I can cut back a lot of these issues that these dogs are having and that we're seeing in these dogs if I breed a 105-pound dog, a 100-pound dog, instead of a 24, 25-inch dog at 150 pounds or 140 pounds. Right. I prefer the movement. I prefer the build. I prefer, like, I can still have all those things in a 100-pound dog that's not like as big as a coffee table. I'm not hauling a moose around, like, right. Somewhere, and I still have enough dog for me. You know what I mean? Right. So what was the question? The question was,
was there a dog out there that you were looking at and you were like, okay, that's the kind of dog that I want?
Yeah. I'm from Southern California. I'm from Oxnard. We moved to Odessa. We moved to West Texas. Me and my family were there for about 3 years. When I went out there, I took a couple of dogs out there and stuff from here, and was just kind of getting into the scene and meeting new people and stuff. And I came across a good friend of mine, Pancho Livas, and we got to talking dogs. I actually bought a dog from him and kind of started like rerouting, and I think shortly after we met, I want to say maybe a few months, like after we become familiar with each other and talking and stuff, and hanging out more often and consistent, he acquired Saki Bomb. He bought Saki from a couple of guys that co-owned the dog. And when I seen that dog, I was like, that's it, you know, like that's the one, dude. Like that's, I need one of those. Like I need one of those. What can we do to make another one of those? That one's dope and it's yours, but I'm gonna need one for me, you know, him. And I think it was like Saki and Pokemon really did it for me. I was impressed and really impressed by dogs like Remy and dogs that were off of him, like Chemo and like Cell Block, like those, like really like Pokemon, like that's, you know what I mean? When I seen that bully dogs, like in really nice dogs and still able-bodied and capable dogs can come from those dogs, then I really wanted to tap into it, because that was the narrative then was, oh, they're short, they can't do this, they're little, they can't do that, and that's just not really the case. I mean, it's not really a little dog. I mean, 100-pound dog, that's however tall it is a lot of dog, you know. So
a lot of mass.
So I was kind of I guess indoctrinated, you know, with coming. I started learning from guys with big dogs and stuff like that, and they would always frown upon like anything that wasn't huge, you know. When in the same breath they were lying about their dog stats and stuff like that. So it was, you know, it's crazy how it happened. But those were the dogs that really like did it for me, you know. And I was, you know, really fortunate enough to be able to own one of those dogs, like own Saki afterwards. So it's been a ride since then. Really, it's been all downhill. Really, it's you know.
With that being said, did you have mentors at that time? Was there people you were reaching out to, or it was just like you seen what you wanted to do, and you know you just went for it? Or at times did you run into times where you needed to talk to somebody?
You know, there's always times where we need to talk to somebody, and now it's a lot easier, I think, because of the technology and the Facebook and things like that. Because back then it was just like there was a couple of message boards, you know, like MSN and like the YouTube board and things like that. And it wasn't really like, I don't know, I was younger, maybe it was just me, but I didn't reach out to a lot of people. I was more like sitting back and watching and sitting back and reading and sitting back and listening and trying to study, you know what I mean? I was borderline obsessed with it, man. Like, you know, I was staying up nights and like 3, 4, like, oh, the sun's coming up. I better like, you know, I better go to sleep. I'm seeing the dogs and reading these boards, you know, like, like pre MySpace, like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I didn't have too many mentors per se. I mean, there was a couple of folks like that kind of big brothered me, you know, guys that are local, like my brother Ant, who's my partner, and Gold Coast Kennels, Joe Mendoza, solid dude, always willing to share and always willing to help too. And I looked up to guys like Ron Ramos, you know, like Eric Clayton, you know, people who were invested in the dogs, and I felt like were good role models because they were reverent to the breed and to the dogs, and not just trying to make money and create a following, you know what I mean? I felt like even back then I knew that the dogs needed more leaders, not like, you know, not breeders.
Right. That makes sense. It makes sense. And you seeing that way back then is like, you know, I guess you kind of seen what was to come, because that's pretty much what it is now. But you know, I mean, with you saying about the whole technology thing and just looking up the because I've heard that before. I actually did a interview with John from Day One Bullies. And cool guy.
Shout out John.
Shout out John. He told me the same thing, man. Like, he used to be on those MSN boards and all that stuff, just looking at the group chats and seeing what it was. So, you know, from that to now that we have all these social media outlets, do you think it just like exploded the whole American bully scene and like kind of, I don't know, just made it real popular?
Yeah, I feel like the whole social media rush was like a blessing and a curse at the same time. And I've said it before, man. Like, it sucked because it kind of gave everybody a platform to like think that they're going to sell everything for high dollar because they see other people doing it, and it's kind of like a persona. It's not really real. It's kind of people post what they want to post, you know, and make it look good and kind of hype things up. And so it kind of it saturates the market with like mediocrity and subpar dogs and things like that, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it's a blessing too, because before we couldn't FaceTime each other and see each other's dogs from California to Florida.
And that's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah. So like back then, did you have to like I talked to other breeders and they said like back then we would have to travel to go see a dog.
Yeah, and then if you didn't like it, well, pack it up, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm that dude, bro. Like I'm that dude. Like I it has to be right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't care if I travel 12 hours to go and do the breeding, 12 hours.
It's not the dog. It's not the dog.
I'd rather call this a road trip instead of a breeding.
Right.
Than and you know, chalk up 24 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Then go through with the breeding that I'm not sure with and be paying for it for the next 5 years. Right. You know? So I mean, yeah, everybody had to travel, bro. Like everybody had to travel. And you had to go based off like pictures because we didn't have we still had flip phones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Phones, like 4 megapixel flip phones.
Yeah. And then I think
what was different then too is that a lot of breeders were willing to work with each other and like share links. Every page back then had a link page and you could go off of one person's page and 5-10 more breeders, you know? Right. And here now people don't even share people's stuff. Like
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they'll follow you, but they ain't gonna share it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a little bit different, you know. It was a little more communal. It was a little more camaraderie, right. And it was a little more exclusive. I want to say a lot more exclusive. It was a lot more exclusive back then because even when you had 1,000 people like in the group, like in that board, maybe a dozen or two were the only ones talking. Because they were the elders, everybody was learning. Right, so they would have conversations with each other and people would sit back and learn listening to those conversations. You know what I'm saying? And that's why even to this day, like I don't really like doing lives by myself or like doing stuff. Like I'll have a conversation with another breeder and we'll bounce things off of each other and everybody watching gets like double the dose, you know? Right. Opposed to where I'm not, I just feel like I'm preaching and it's like, man, I'm not a preacher, bro. Like, you know? Right. Yeah, I mean, if I'm talking about something, it's me sharing experiences. You know what I mean? And that's and I at the same time too, you know how people are, they're always looking for something to, if you're looking for a problem, you're gonna find one. You know, if you're looking for a discrepancy, you're gonna find one. And people like to twist your words and things like that. And I just I feel like if I speak from experience instead of something I read, then it's like there's no argument, there's no like, it is what it is, dude. Like you and 5 other people could have done the same thing and experienced something different and good for you. And don't just take what I'm saying for what I'm saying. Don't take it as scripture. Go ask 5 people. You know what I mean? This is just from my experience. Somebody else could have done it and felt different. You know what I mean? Or had an experience. So all I can do is share my experience. And then when we collectively share our experiences, it becomes almost like a big study, like a clinical study. You know what I mean? Right. If we all share and we're willing to put that info down in one spot, you know, and the dogs will benefit from it.
Back to your dogs, you know, I know Dooley's your guy right now. Take us down that path for the viewers that don't know, you know, what was it like? What does it take to produce a dog like that?
It's hard because I'll tell you when it's hard. It's hard for me. It was difficult for me because I'm very particular. Like I take a lot of pride in what I do. And regardless of what it is, you know what I mean? Typically I take a lot of pride in it. I pay attention to detail, almost to a fault, you know, like, I'm washing my car and I'm sitting here like,
you're your biggest critic.
Yes. Nobody can tell me, people can't hurt my feelings because I've already told myself that shit 5 times and way meaner. Like, you know what I mean? So it's you know, it's a difficult thing, bro, because even when I look back and like now I'm a little bit older, you know, I'm different right now than I was 5 years ago, you know, and looking back at it, I'm like, man, I look at his daddy and I'm like, not just because he was my dog and I produced him or whatever, but I look at him and I say, man, that dog could have granded. Like, damn, that dog could have earned a champion title. Like that dog could have went all the way, you know, he's a really nice dog. His daddy's nice. Yeah. And I just didn't, bro. Like, you know, I said, no, it can be a little bit better. And later on, I'll show you like the video. I'll shoot you the picture in the video so that way you can pop it in here. You know what I mean? Some pictures, the video of them. I'm not just saying it to say it. I love the dog, but I just felt like I could make it a little bit better. And the details that I'm talking about, when I point them out to people and break this down as to why, people look at me like they're ready to slap me. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, it's so like, and I'm like, but that's how picky I am. Like, if I'm going to bring something to the ring, if I'm going to spend the time, the money away from my family, like if I'm going to do these things and invest myself into it, I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability, like to the best. I'm not going to settle. You know what I mean? I think they deserve that, you know, like the dogs deserve it. My family deserves it. I want to make it worth my time to do. So it was a really difficult process because he's like 5th generation, like our dog, you know, because we still like when I had the opportunity to own Saki came to us, and I already owned a Saki son. I already owned a Saki son who was like going on two or three by the time I acquired Saki. And I had already bought 2 girls and bred the Saki twice, I believe. Like, you know what I mean? Before I even, I was invested in that blood. Like, that's what I wanted. Like I said, it's crazy that you asked me that, because that was exactly what he was. And so I had that Saki son that I got from Ponch too, and his name was Chief. So we had Saki, and then we owned Chief, and then from Chief, we bred Chief to a Manu daughter named Country, and we got Ruthie, who's on paper it's Sunday Serenade, but we called her Ruthie. And then I kept Ruthie with me, and her brother's actually still with one of my cousins. We kept Ruthie, and we bred Ruthie to her first cousin on the other side, like to Country's like littermate sister's son. And then I got Kane, and Kane is Dooley's daddy. And then I bred Kane to a Saki daughter and got Dooley. So on the top of Dooley's pedigree, like we've owned like he's like 5th generation our dog, you know.
Nice.
So it took a long time, and in the process, I didn't just breed like that. Like, I guess I didn't just breed that down like that. I was branching off breeding Saki still and trying different things to try to better what I had, because we started, with Grand Champion Saki Bomb, and I was like, well, I don't want just another Grand Champion. We wanted a better one. And I felt like I could make it better. And Ponch believed in my ability. Ponch believed in like our passion and trusted us to say, hey, take the dog and keep it going. That was what he would. That's the phrase he would always use, is keep it going. Like, keep it going.
Well, I think he picked the right person.
Man. It was a big deal to me when that dog came to me, and the way it came to me. The dog was a gift. He could have sold the dog. Wow. And he told me, just come get him, dude. I got this going on. I got that going on. Just come get him, Wow. And I ended up going to get him, and he signed him over to me and was like, just keep it going, dude. Like, take care of it, do it right. Yeah. And I promised him I would, and you know what I mean? I always wanted history. Yeah, I always wanted to honor that, you know what I mean? Because it was such a precious gift to me. That dog meant so much at the time. He had put so much into him, and like all this, like atomic dog cover had already gone down. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I couldn't imagine like having my prize, like, boy that's sitting right here at my feet right at that point. Like, I can sit right here at my feet, you can't see him. But I could imagine saying, you know what, I don't have the time for this, and having to trust somebody, the level of trust that it would take, and the level of confidence it would take in somebody for me to say like that and go and do it and give it to him.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I don't know if I could do it. Like,
because that's hard, man, because you don't know if they're gonna care for him and love him like you do. You know what I mean? And that's just it's a big trust and a hell of a gift, though.
Yeah, shout out to Ponch, man, for really believing in me and trusting us with that, because without that trust, without that promise and confidence, like I wouldn't be here right now with him. I wouldn't be here with Dooley. Yeah, it would be different.
What was it about Dooley, man? Like, as a pup, what'd you see? Did you keep the whole litter? Did you just pick him out? How did that go?
No, it was actually I bred this litter very intentionally. Like, even before, because I knew the female I was gonna breed. Like, I knew his mama. I was like, my mom actually raised his mom. Like, as a puppy, I took her on a pup back deal from a good buddy of mine. Shout out to Manny at Fireblood Bullies in Curtis. Yeah. They shot me a pup back from Saki and their girl Suba, and I had a lot going here at the time, and my mom and my sister were living by themselves at the time. My sister, I think, was like 17, 18 at the time, and my mom, and they just lived down the block. Like, we live on the same street. She's just at the other end of the street.
Right.
And there's a lot of foot traffic on that end and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, mom, have her at the fence. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And, so I already knew what girl I was going to breed. It's just coincidence that my mom raised his dog, or raised his mom. But I could have bred her back to Saki. I could have used an outside dog, I could have used an outside dog. I could have line bred her. I could have done different things with her, and I was like, what can I do to give me the best chance what can I do with this girl? Because I knew she was special, to give me the best chance to get like where I want to be. You know, I thought to myself, Saki's a really complete dog. He was older already, like 10-ish, 9-ish or something like that. And I said, well, we can inbreed him. I haven't done it yet, and we can see what pops, because she has a lot of those nice features that he does and the things that I wanted from his side. And then looking at the studs that I had, like co-owned and, you know, around, I was like, man, this is the most complete one though. And I haven't used him. Like Dooley's dad, Kane. Man, he was 5 years old. I never bred him. And still to this day, he's like 8 years old now, and I haven't bred him again. Like, yeah, it's like quality over quantity.
Yeah, for sure.
So
but I mean,
I bred it with the intention, you know, to produce a grand champion and a dog that I could campaign and like go all the way with. And I decided that it would be, I think, a little more fruitful, and I think could take a little more pride and be more proud of a dog that I produced with 2 dogs that I produced, instead of just going to my grand champion and expecting another grand champion to pop out, because that's what everybody wants to do. Everybody thinks, you know, should happen. I went the long route, you know, and used my tools to put it together, to make it happen. And I remember telling my wife, my family and stuff, they were having like a pool on the chalkboard on the like in the kitchen. You know how many puppies she was gonna have? 6, 7, this many girls, this many boys, and all that good stuff. And I said, I hope she has like 10 boys. I don't have no interest in no girls. Like I don't want a girl. Like I want a boy to campaign, and I hope I have like 10 of them to choose from. I don't care about a female. And it was funny enough, she had 6 males and she didn't have any females. So I had a litter of pure boys like to pick from.
Right.
And I didn't really know like right off what this dog was going to be or what to really expect. I just knew that I wanted to take my time in picking, because it was a big deal for me. I knew that there was a lot of potential in the breeding. Looking at both of the parents, are very, very complete dogs, like from some really cool blood that even people that breed the same blood didn't yield the same results as I did. So I consider myself really fortunate, like really fortunate, you know, and highly favored because I know I've seen plenty of people do similar stuff and not come close to the same thing.
Yeah, they didn't get the same result.
Yeah, and my wife really was the one that was like, there's a video I'll show you. I'll send you that one too, where she was trying to take pictures of all the puppies, like individual pictures of the puppies, and I don't even think they were 3 weeks old at the time. And she was like, look, he's giving me a hard time. He doesn't want me to take his picture. He wants to stay. I think you're the one that's going to stay. And he had just barely opened his eyes. And she was bugging me. And I'm like, dude, the dog has to move well. Like, he hasn't even walked. Like, you know what I mean? Just let him get up and walk, and then we'll make the picture. He was like, I just think this is the one that you're going to take. He's like, she could see things that I couldn't see yet.
Right.
And then just me being who I am, like being really particular, like, nope, being really patient and waiting. Time ain't going to do nothing but put us in a better spot. So I have all the time in the world when it comes to picking the pups, you know?
Yeah.
And then it just came down to picking, really, because I pick a little bit different than other people. People are like, well, I did this breeding for head. I did this breeding for like tight feet. I did this breeding for this, for that, right? And I kind of look at things backwards when it comes to that, because I'm familiar with the lines and I know what's coming out. And if I've seen something, I'm not breeding stuff in because they already have all the stuff that I want. What I'm trying to do is, to the contrary, is breed things out. So if I see like a feature in their rear that I don't like a certain movement, or if I see their feet a certain shape, and I'll knock them off. And the last man standing is typically my pick. And if the last one has things that are like a deal breaker for me, well, that one can go too. And I'm just going to chalk it up. I'm not going to force it. Like, you know? And if I didn't get what I was looking for and the potential of this breeding, like, I'm not going to force it and continue to breed. Just because it's the best one doesn't mean it's the best for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm really particular like that. And I've done that. Even like, for example, Dooley's dad, that litter that I produced in-house, I didn't know what they were going to turn out like. And I wanted to make sure that I was breeding the right dog from that litter, because I'd never seen the dogs bred this way. I've never seen this combination of blood. I've never seen this happen. So I didn't really know what to expect. So it was difficult for me at the time to go, okay, well, I want $3,500 for this puppy. I don't even know what it's going to turn out to be. And I like my sleep, bro. I'm not a bullshitter. Like, you know what I mean? I like my sleep. So I'm not selling dreams, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So I was really hard on myself. And I even, you know, probably pissed my wife off pretty good when I was like, I'm not going to sell them. You know, these dogs are more, you know, we struggled with that litter, man. And in a little house then, and in a tiny house, it felt like their kids were still little, and you know what I mean, things like that. And I'm like, dang. I ended up placing all of those dogs with friends and family, like all of them, except for the one that went back to my buddy Joe, who did the breeding with me.
Right.
So he took one back. He took one back, and I placed the rest of them. Even 2 of them with my cousin. Like his dad lives with Dooley's dad lives with his littermate brother. Like they've never spent the night away from each other.
Wow.
They both left together. My uncle, my cousin took two boys.
Yeah.
My cousin was originally supposed to just grab one, and then my uncle was like, "I want one too." I was like, "Shit, take one, Unc." Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Take them. I need homes for them, and I need them close, you know? So just take them. So they all stayed, bro. Like they all stayed, and I made sure that I bred the right one. Like right. I can call everybody right now from that litter and say, "Where's the dog?"
Where's the dog at? You got
8 years later, because 8 years later, because they're all my friends and family. I literally gave them away to my friends and family.
Nice.
You know? So making sure, bro, like making sure, like doing the things that are hard. You know what I mean?
So like, I mean,
hard.
Because I know people are gonna see you right now. You know, Dooley's getting a lot of attention, which he deserves. And you know, I feel like a lot of people, especially, you know, we're probably a little bit older than a lot of the guys that's jumping into the game right now. And you know, they see likewise, bro. I got a couple in here too. But you know, with that being said, you know, you see them probably just looking at the end result of, you know, Fred Duran and Dooley, I'm sorry, and you know, it's just like, dude, you know, that's why I kind of want to do this. It's just so people that view this, they kind of see like, look, man, it takes years to get this type of dog, because I feel like with social media, everybody wants it right now.
Yeah, and imagine the pressure of having that now. Right. Now it took me this, and this to build it. And now that it's in the spotlight and it's there, I like to say what 50 Cent said. He goes, "There ain't no sympathy for winners."
Right.
You know, nobody cares, bro. They just want you to keep winning. Now they expect you to just clone them and pump them out like that. And it's just not how it works. But I don't think people understand what it takes to, like, the work and the struggle that it takes to remain relevant through the changes in our society and how quick the styles move. Dogs are born every day, bro. Thousands of dogs are born every day. Yeah. So, and people don't understand how hard it is to not just get to the top, but to stay there and to remain relevant, remain a positive influence, and to stick to your guns, even when it might not be money. You know what I mean? Like really loving what you do and doing it anyway. Yeah. It's not an easy thing, man. It's really not. And it's the part that they don't tell you about these days. That's the difference between now and then. Is like, now you have your typical Facebook breeder, and I'm not trying to offend nobody by that. I'm just saying, for perspective, somebody who comes off of Facebook and was told, "Hey, if you buy this dog for $5,000, you can buy this dog for $5,000. Turn around, make puppies, and sell them for $5,000 a piece." And there's 10 puppies in a litter, bro. Tell your wife it's $50,000 if you give me 5 right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the reality of it is that they don't know what it takes to create that clientele. Like, you know, how many people, I always say, well, when people tell me, "I'm going to sell dogs too, dude, sell me a dog, boop, boop," and they're into it, they're gung-ho, bro. They're going to put some money down. They're going to invest. They're going to make money. I said, okay, well, how are you going to sell them? They say, on Facebook, like everybody else, there's groups and whoop. There's 70,000 people in this group, 100,000 people in this group. It's like, okay, how many people on your Facebook right now do you know that are willing to give you $5,000 for a dog? And then they all look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you know, and I'm like, well, there you go. You need to build a clientele base. You need to get out there and do that. You have to have a resume, because people who are knowing, people who are in the know, you know what I mean? They're not just going to come and just buy genetics. They want to buy your work. They want to buy a piece of you. They want somebody who's going to help them through the struggles of learning, you know, in their first year, 2, 3 years, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it is with me. My line's open. Everybody and anybody who's gotten a dog for me is always welcome to comment for the lifetime of the dog and further, you know what I mean? Whatever they need, I'm always trying to help, because those things, all that info that they're willing to provide and ask me questions with, it gives me info and on what I'm producing. And if I have all these people 4 or 5 years into their dog with different experiences, I really can gather all this info and figure out really what I'm producing, not just putting them here, putting there, and then saying, "Oh, cute! Look at them with the baby on the couch." Like anybody could do that, you know what I mean? But really knowing what you're putting, and really knowing and having confidence in what you're producing and what you're doing, it takes time. It's not just like this, and it's not easy as let's go put them right there with my homie. It doesn't work that way, you know. And I say this, and I guess in reference to a lot of the temperament stuff too.
That's huge.
Well, I breed for temperament. It's like, well, how do you know that you're breeding? Like, You have 6 dogs, you work 12 hours a day, you come home and you let the dog out for 1 hour while you clean all the kennels.
Right.
Of course he's going to be happy. Of course he's going to be in a good mood. Of course he's going to be for that hour. But when you take offspring from those dogs and you put one of them in an apartment with a kid, you put another one on a ranch with a horse, you put another one in a backyard with a cat, and then you gather all these things, you gather all this info and feedback from these people and how those dogs act, then you get an average for what you're really producing. You know what I mean?
You got a lot of references.
Time. Yeah, and it takes time. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. This is like what I'm talking to you about is if we have 1 litter per year, we're talking 4 or 5 years to gather even a little bit of that info that we need, you know? Right. And that's what's 5 litters in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you imagine how people that breed 1 or 2 litters and they've been around 18 months sitting here talking to me about temperament, and I'm like, bruh, miss me.
How would you know? How would you know? How would you know?
No.
Yeah. And I think those are terms that are just thrown out there now. And so everybody knows of them. You know, everybody knows all these different terminologies that are being spoken amongst the community. So I think people know the right thing to say, but that they're probably not actually doing the right thing.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, it sounds good, I guess. But when we really break it down and think about what we're talking about and, you know, what that really means.
Right.
Yeah, people are talking, but they're not working.
Yeah, man, that's dope. You know, that your wife had seen, you know, something about him that she liked, you know what I'm saying? And you ended up picking him, man. So, you know, at what age did you know that was going to be your guy?
You know, I started to see things and kind of like, he was so like, dude, he looked like a cartoon. Wow. Like he didn't look real. Like the other dogs looked like puppies, you know, and they're good looking puppies. But there was just something about this one, like, his forehead was a little bit bigger, like his eyes were a little bit wider, like his muzzle was just a little bit shorter, like there was just his back was just a little shorter and his shoulders were just a little wider, you know what I mean? Like it was just little teeny tiny details that really like set him apart. And if you know, change 2 or 3 minor details, it makes a big difference, you know. So I started seeing that stuff in him kind of when he started to move around, and I started to say like, well, she might have seen something, you know, because he's a good-looking pup. There was a few of them that I had my eye on, but that one kind of, I think maybe because black is one of my favorite like coat colors, you know, too. That I was kind of like looking towards him, and it helped, you know.
Nice.
And he was black, bro. He didn't like get like, he has like ghost tan points or whatever.
Right.
But you don't like, I didn't see him until he was about 4.5, almost 5 months old. He was black, and then when he did, I took some pictures of him in the backyard, and when I seen the tan points, I about cried. I was like, I just wanted him to stay black.
Yeah, all black. Yeah, man. So when did you get into like participating in the shows? And as far as you like showing your dog, was it with Dooley?
No, this is way back, like right before I kind of when I run into Ponch, and I was doing like obedience training and stuff like that. And there was a real like pivotal moment there where Ponch was like, man, if you can train the dogs to do that, you can train them to show. You should try, you know, like come with me. And I was like, well, all right, well, I'm with it, you know, I'll try it. Like, let's go. And I wasn't good at it.
No.
I wasn't good at it. Man. I wasn't that great. And I got sent home with red marks on my ass a few times, more than a few times. Did a lot of losing before I did any winning. Yeah. And I think that's what continued to like, I think that's what drove me. Like, I was like, man, I just want to get better. And I was determined like to get better. I guess with more experience, you know, and then running into people at shows and stopping people and asking, like people who I looked up to, like asking like for help and saying like, this is what I got going, this is what I'm trying to do, and this is what I got, you know?
Yeah.
I was really fortunate to be surrounded by good people and to ask the right people the right questions that kind of put me in a position to learn and not be discouraged, you know, because it can be a discouraging like community too sometimes, you know.
I bet. So do you prefer to show your own dogs? Because I know a lot of people, you know, use a handler and stuff like that, maybe because they don't want to get in the ring themselves. But I feel like you and Dooley have like this little vibe together, man. Because I was talking to you before you showed him, and you was, you know, you're a humble guy, friendly, you know, outgoing, and then like when it was time to show, it was like, okay, they locked in, bro. Like, you know, yeah. You weren't paying attention to nothing else. You was locked in, and I was watching y'all closely, and it just looked like you know, you guys got a great relationship, you know what I mean? And I'm wondering, you know, does that help in the long run rather than, you know, just handing your dog off to somebody to handle them? And I know a lot of handlers actually take care of the dogs and show them and stuff like that, but some people just take them to the show and find a handler, you know?
I mean, with me, I take a lot of pride, like in showing the dog. I take a lot of pride in like produced, handled, like tied, you know, like all that stuff, like bred and fed, you know what I mean? Like right here, I take a lot of pride in it. Like I even up to like, I want to say up until like last year, like nobody even really took pictures of my dogs, only me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do all of it, like the videography, the photos, like all the media, all that stuff. Like I wanted to do all that on my own. So I kind of had to, I'm not the best photographer, but I can take a picture. You know, I'm not the best handler, but me and him can get it done, you know, if we work at it and we do things our way. There's a huge sense of pride in it. You know, I've had folks offer me and I'm grateful, super grateful. So don't take it the wrong way. Like for people that have offered, you know, like we'll take the dog and they're great people and I trust them with the dog. Don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of me being able to let go of the leash. Like, am I going to be able to handle somebody else winning with them, dude? Like, he's my boy, you know? And I think we have that, like me and him have that, man, because he's literally sitting at my feet right now. You know what I mean? Like he's literally laying down, like right here next to me. If I'm at home, he's with me. You know what I mean? Like, and I work from home. I'm here all the time. Like, so he's always with me. I want to say 80% of the day and 100% of the day if I don't leave the house. Like, you know, if I don't leave today and tomorrow, he will literally follow me all day. You know, he'll go out to the bathroom when I go out to the back to like water the grass or do whatever, like fill water bucket or whatever. Because I don't keep a bunch of dogs. It's like it's really like a kiddie pool and 2 buckets of water that's in the backyard because we don't keep a bunch of dogs. Like I have a kennel in the backyard, like a 5x10 like kennel, but I don't keep a bunch of dogs. So nobody uses it. It's got an empty igloo and a empty igloo just kind of sits there. My dogs all get along and they're straight, you know. So we're always just laying around together. But I think the more time we spend with them, the better the communication is. You know what I mean? Like between us, the easier it is to communicate with the dog and for him to understand what I want from him. You know, I think a lot of dogs come out and they start off slow. And when I say that, I mean like they kind of come out to a show and they're like, whoa, you know, I've never seen this before. And there's all kinds of distractions and all kinds of excitement and dogs barking and dogs gating with their tails up. And there's just so much going on, you know, that dogs are like kind of having to get used to it. And you got to kind of keep their attention. And, you know, he started kind of like that too. And all I did was kind of just pull the reins back a little bit and go, whoa, bro, like you can flex, you can get excited, you know, let's keep it right here. And so in doing that, like I just kind of ride him. That's what I tell people, like in the show ring, like I just kind of ride him. We don't really practice like for the show ring or stuff like that. Like I just kind of feel his energy. He feels mine. Like at this point we know what to do. But when we were starting, like they said he was excited about the dog in front of him. So he's standing on his toes, his ears are up, and all I got to do is kind of control him so he'll stack and stay there. You know what I mean? Right. It gives the dog an edge. Like he looks into it, he looks ready, he looks confident, and it's flashy because he's standing on his toes. His ears are up, his eyes are fixated, and he's giving you a whole flex and a pose. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I kind of like that. You know, it's a little more work on my end, like as a handler, having to be able to control him and maybe even hard stack him like here and there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But I would rather him free stack and me like adjust him and do that than, you know, just pull him up and full on like, you know what I mean? Do that. Like every dog's a little bit different. Like I've had a dog that free stack for me and boom, bam, we had different, but this guy requires something a little bit, it's a different dance, a different dog, a different dance, you know? So
they all have different personalities.
They all need something. It's like a race car, bro. Like every car handles different, you know, every car's going to handle different. But yeah. And even like with other people's dogs, I have a hard time. Like when people ask me like to show their dogs, I'm flattered and I'm humbled, and it's an honor for me, for somebody to trust me with that, you know? But at the same time, it's difficult because I don't know the dog. I don't know what he needs. I don't know what he wants. And I want the outcome to be the best. I want to put the dog in the best position to win. If I'm not familiar with them, and you know what I mean? It's hard for me to do that, like really. And I think maybe I overthink it a little bit, not just going and doing it. They're like, you got the skills to do it. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
Right. Like, you want to be able to,
he's going to like me too, you know?
Right. And you want to be able to read the dog. I'm sure with Dooley, like when he does certain things, you know what he means by that. You know what I mean? So definitely, man. That's good, man. So how important do you think it is in this bully business, like if you're breeding and selling puppies, like how important is it to be a good businessman as much as just having good dogs? Because I know you always hear stories about people doing bad business, and do you think that tarnishes your reputation, especially now with social media, because like it can get out there pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, it's important, obviously, well, to do good business, right? Because honesty, integrity, I think those things are pillars to longevity. And obviously too, like nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I've had things go like south, and in this dog stuff, like a lot of things can happen that are unexpected. Nothing's guaranteed. You know what I mean? So I try not to really guarantee anything and just say like, I'm going to do my best, and you trust me to do my best, and it's just like any other business. When you have 1,000 customers, one of them's going to be pissed about something. For sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But taking care of people and making an effort to meet them halfway when things go wrong, it doesn't fall just on the breeder. Right. It's up to the client or the pet homeowner or the buyer and the breeder to meet in the middle and to try to figure out what's best for both parties, because it's something that a bunch of stuff happens 9 times out of 10. It's something that nobody could foresee and nobody can control. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like you and your buyer, you or your client are like partners in it until it can get right. You know what I mean? Right. And I think that's I think where a lot of people there's this disconnect where people are like, well, he's doing bad business. Well, just because you're offended and just because you don't like it, don't like what happened to you, doesn't mean that you're right, and doesn't mean that he's bad. Right. So every case, it's like a case to case basis, but the importance, I can't stress how important it is to give people a good experience. Not just do good business and take money and give them something like when you say you're gonna, but to do good business, to support them through their purchase, to understand what you're selling them, understand how it's going to affect their day-to-day life, and being understanding in that and helping them through it to get it to make it as easy as you can for them. Because the easier that you can make it for that client, the happier they're going to be with your production, the happier and the better off that puppy is going to be in their house. Right. It's just like a stressed out lady, like a stressed out mama. Yeah. You know what I mean? If mom's stressed out, all the kids in the house, everybody like, right. Yeah, it's a different experience than a happy-go-lucky, easygoing, like involved parent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we want to do whatever we can to, do good business in that sense too, and support people and help, because it's not, the transaction doesn't end in the money exchange and the puppy exchange. Right. And I think that's really important. I wanted to mention that too, because that's part of the business. Right. That's part. My clients are still my clients, even though that dog's 5 years old. Right. He's my client, and understanding that as, I guess, breeders or business owners, that we can learn a lot by taking these information and these phone calls, like from our clients with their, right. Get feedback of what's going on with your productions and things like that. And know what you're doing, and use that info to breed better and to help another client that might be in the same position later. Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. Because I see a lot of drama in the Facebook group. I read it. I don't participate, but I just read just to know what's going on. But there's always somebody bashing somebody. But sometimes I think I've seen guys get nice dogs, start their program, start off real fast, and then I think maybe it takes off too fast for them. Maybe they're good at marketing and it takes off too fast, and then I hear that they're scamming people for deposits, or and then I was just like, man, your program was just going good, what happened? But that's the Facebook effect. We're just gonna act like everything good, fake it till you make it. Right. And so I just wanted to get your input on it, man. I mean, if you really don't have much to say about it, that's fine also, but how do you feel about I know ABKC recognizes and you can register Merles, but they're not allowing them to show. Do you think that's going to change here soon? You think Merles are going to be allowed to show? And how do you feel about the Merle in general? Or you really don't care about color at all? It's funny. I always say, like, when people ask me about color, I'm like, well, it's kind of like a hot chick in a bikini, right? Like, do you care what color the bikini is? Like, not really. Nobody does.
Right.
Nobody remembers the colors.
Right.
And that's the way I see it, because I'm looking at different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I had to, like, a black dog, a fawn, or a tan dog, or like my favorite brindle is like my favorite stuff, and like my least preferred is probably a Tri and a Merle. That's why, so when this dog gave me the 10 points, I was like, I wanted you to, it went from like my favorite to one of my least,
Yeah.
I think people, to answer the question, do I think that the ABKC will? I think eventually they will. Look at how much there is, and look at how far that it's come in just 5 years.
Right.
In just 5 years, the dogs are some of the nicer, like, built dogs as far as the XL class goes. You know, like, you see a lot of them in the XL class that are closer to, and carry a lot more breed type and a lot more conformation than some of the dogs that aren't and that are accepted colors. And when you start to see that type of thing, if these dogs can stay healthy and people can breed them like responsibly and do the right things, I don't see why not, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what this is. I mean, we're building a new breed. We're just like they did with the Tris. At one point, wasn't that way, and now they're here and they're here to stay. Like,
because the Tris at one time were getting the pushback that the Merles are getting now. Yes.
And at one point, the Blues got the pushback that the Merles are getting now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I personally, I think that it will. In due time, I think that it will. It's just going to take, I think, the people breeding well, and I think the XL class, like, in itself is already like having a hard time conforming and winning. And how many XL dogs are winning like best of breeds? Or how many are ranked in the top 10? Like, how many are, you know what I mean? Those dogs aren't carrying like the conformation that they should a lot of the times. But, and when we look at the XL as a whole, though, like I said, I think there's a few dogs like in the XL class, or dogs that are producing XL dogs that are better examples by far than some of the dogs that have accepted coat colors, So I think, I honestly think eventually that it will. You're not the first person to ask you that, and it's funny that you do. But yeah, I think they will. I think they will. And like I said, I think if people can breed the dogs responsibly, I think if people can breed the dogs healthy, then why not? Because
they're not going anywhere.
That's what this is. It's like, it's an art. Like, it's a form of expression. Like, it's something that, like, you can do it. Like, we can be going after the same goal, trying to reach the same goal, but you can do it completely different. The next guy can do it completely different, and I can do it completely different, and we can all get to the same place. That's what's really cool about this. You know what I mean? I think that's what's neat about it. So if somebody wants to use a Merle to get there, more power to them, dude. Like, and I don't get mad. Like, a lot of people that are like preach the standard and like conformation. I do. I love conformation. I love the challenge of the conformation breeding. Like, I love the challenge of the show ring, and I love the challenges that the standard like it gives us. You know what I mean? Especially with me preferring like a 19, 20-inch dog. It's not easy to get. It's not easy to do. But like, I don't know. I just think that there's so many, and that there's so much going on with it that they can do it too. It's not my preference. It's not what I prefer, like, to breed. But at the same time, I can appreciate like that route. I can appreciate like what it is. Dogs are beautiful. Dogs are beautiful, man. Like, just it's not what I prefer. It doesn't make it like, I don't know, any less valuable or any less like,
Right.
But I think they have some. I think they have some stuff to contribute.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's come a long way, because the first ones I seen, like the XLs and stuff, they were kind of like not the best looking dogs. It was, you seen the people going after the color, but I think now with time, it's like they've corrected all that stuff. And like you said, there's some nice looking Merles out there, and I'm sure they're going to continue to improve them, I hope.
Yeah, it just took some time, I think, to develop that, and it's still going to get better because it's not stopping. People aren't stopping.
No,
they're going to continue to as long as they're going to continue to register them.
Right.
People aren't going to stop. And even if the ABKC themselves like stop registering them, they're just going to go to another registry and they're going to do it there. So it's not going to go anywhere. And from a business standpoint, they might as well.
Yeah, well, I think ABKC didn't have a choice. Once another registry started accepting them, like, I mean, it's a business, and so you're gonna let all that business go somewhere else, and then they're gonna have like an upper hand as far as being the only ones accepting Merles. So every Merle's gonna be there and you're gonna have none. So I don't know. Business wise, I see it happening. So yeah, definitely, man. So what could you get of viewers, man? Maybe, you know, we have so many new breeders out here. What are 3 keys to success that you could pass on to some new breeders?
I think for me, a few pillars and a few things have been integrity, doing the right thing, not just by our clients, but doing the right thing by the dogs. Integrity, you know, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, like for the dogs, you know, not just for your clients or when money's being exchanged, but like for the dogs. Like I was saying, man, I could have sold that litter.
Right.
Like I could have sold that litter. Instead, I kept them all with my friends and family because I didn't want to, like,
yeah.
For one, for one, I couldn't sell it, like, because I didn't know what it was going to be. And
Yeah.
2, like, you know, being that I wanted to breed the best dogs. So, doing those types of things, making the sacrifices, I think, and having integrity is a big deal. Being open-minded to education and correction. And I think having, like, I heard somebody say, I think I might have read it in a meme or something like that, but it said something like it's okay to change your opinion when you learn something new.
Right.
Like, based on new information, it's all right. And I think that people are so indoctrinated, like, no, this is what the person I bought it from said, and this, not even considering what's being told to them. They're just like, this is what I was told, this works for me, this is what I believe, and everybody else can kiss my, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. And being open-minded to those corrections and changing your opinions or changing your thought process based on new information and things learned is key, because this is constantly changing. Like I said, there's 1,000 dogs born a day. Yeah. You know, there's thousands of dogs born every day, and this industry is moving so quick. And if we want to remain relevant, you know, in this industry moving forward and really make an impact on this community, that we need to be with it. You know what I mean? We need to be paying attention and focusing on those things. And I think the last thing for me, and it's something that I say all the time, it's a word that I use like heavy, and I'm firm in it, and I really like stand on it, is reverence. Mm-hmm. And reverence, you know, for those who don't understand, like, or get what I mean by that, is like humbling ourselves and being reverent to something that's bigger than us, you know, understanding that it's bigger than, like, what I'm trying to do is bigger than just my yard. It's bigger than me and Dooley. You know what I mean? It's bigger than my bloodline and my clients. Like, there's a whole world of these dogs, and you know what I mean? And if we're going to be here taking part in it, I want to do what's good for the dogs and the breed and the community and the people who are, like, gonna be my kids and my grandkids and my nephews and nieces and my, you know what I mean, things like that. Like, in 30 years from now, I want people to be able to enjoy them in the same aspect and in the same essence that we enjoy them today, with the same builds, with the same temperaments, with the same looks in their eyes and smiles. Like, we want to keep those things and maintain them. They do so much for me. And they've done so much for my family that I want to do my best to keep them intact and to keep them the way they are, so that people in the future can enjoy them the way we do today. And I think that's what's important, and seeing a bigger picture and not just focused on my wallet, my yard, my bloodline, my clients, like knowing that there's a whole community and what we do impacts that, whether it be big or little. I've been around more than 15 years, bro. So I want my impact to be big. I want my impact to, you know what I mean? I bred this dog to make an impact, you know, on the gene pool as a whole. And I made certain decisions that weren't the greatest. Like, it didn't feel the greatest for me, and I didn't benefit from it right off. But I had to make decisions based on the breed, you know, like I did a litter last year. For example, I did a litter last year, and I liked a bunch of the dogs, right? And I thought for sure I had the one that I was looking for. And it turned out she wasn't. Wow. You know what I mean? 7-8 months into it, the dog's like not what I expected. Right. I could have turned around and bred the dog and said, well, I'm just gonna fix this and fix that. Right. It's not. I can't do it. Like, putting this back into the gene pool. Yeah. It goes against like what I say and what I believe, and I know that I'm going to set myself back. Not only myself, but I'm setting everybody back by adding more of this that I know doesn't belong. Right. So I had to chalk it up, bro. Like, she was my keeper. Yeah. But I ended up letting her go for peanuts because somebody was going to give her a good couch, you know? Right. And it wasn't great for me at the time, but it's good for everybody else. I got to think in a whole. And I don't think that enough people are told these things. I don't think enough people are or realize, the effect that just a few breedings can have. A few breedings with, say, 30 dogs in 5 breedings. Yeah. You know what I mean? You take those 30 dogs and you put them in 30 different houses.
Right.
And then those dogs are bred, and then you have 300 dogs real fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
People don't understand the impact and how important it is to like think these breedings out, to have a plan with your productions, to know and have like responsible people who that you can trust long term and who are stable with these dogs. If you want to begin starting a program and really helping the breed, I don't want to say better the breed, because we just helping, you know what I mean, and making a positive impact. I don't like when people say bettering the breed, because we have badass dogs. Like,
There's tons of them.
We don't need to get better. We need to be more consistent. That's it. You know what I mean?
I think part of the problem is people don't do research till after they bought a dog. So then they bought this dog, and then now they've spent, maybe their last on this dog, and now it's not a dog that's even of breeding quality, but they've already spent their money on it. So now they're just like, well, I'm breeding this dog no matter what.
Protect the investment.
Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of people get caught up in not doing their homework. And so that's part of the reason why I want to put these videos out, man. It's like, I think at this point, there's enough dogs with the right conformation and clean quality dogs that you just have to find that breeder. And of course, you can't guarantee every dog's going to be a breed quality dog. But I think it's important to definitely do that homework. And I think people don't do it till after they bought the dogs.
Yeah. You got to protect the investment. Could you imagine telling your wife, I'm going to spend this $8,000 on this dog, and when it turns this old, we're going to flip this, and we're going to turn $5,000 into 50 and 75 in the next 2 years. We're going to buy a house. You know, I saw this guy on the internet. He's got $1 million home and he drives a Bentley because he got Frenchies. Babe, I need these Frenchies. And then the time comes 18 months later, and she's like, there she is in heat. And then you say, well, I don't know if she's breed quality.
Yeah.
What's your wife going to tell you? You want to sleep on the couch? Nah, homie's going to breed that dog because there's nobody to answer to. You know what I mean? And there's a lack of reverence. There's a lack of integrity. There's a lack of honesty to ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to avoid. But that's what's being taught too, is flip this. And that's what's led to an oversaturation of not dogs, but subpar or mediocre dogs.
Right.
You know?
Do you think it's just like that's on the registries? Like the registry could play a role in cleaning up the dogs, or avoid? It's hard. It's almost impossible, right?
Yeah. Now the registry is only in charge of keeping records.
That's it.
You know what I mean? That's what the registry's job is. I don't know if the ABKC or I know I've read like some kennel websites that even state that it's the breeder's responsibility to police each other. Them going like, hey, that's on y'all. Yeah.
We wash our hands.
Yeah, we're gonna wash our hands. We'll keep the record. Y'all got to deal with it though. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, I think it's not the registry's fault. It's we're all grown people. We're all grown. We're all adults. We should all be responsible in making. We're all capable of making responsible decisions and doing research before we jump into something we're playing with life, man. Like we're creating. Like we're playing with life.
Yeah. So
it's got to be taken a little more serious.
Right. So do you think that so like you're saying, it's mostly up to the breeders. Do you think breeders should be more honest and just sell the dogs as they are? Like, look, this is a pet. This isn't breed quality. This isn't show quality. This is a pet. I know a couple breeders that do that, but for the most part, I don't see too many people doing that. They want to sell every dog for the.
Of course, because pet home price is half the price of a breeding stock or a show quality prospect. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that we don't hear a lot of either is prospect. Like, dude, that puppy's not show quality. He's a prospect.
Right.
He's not quality yet. Like, he's a prospect. Right. That's not a breeding quality dog yet at 4 months. That's a prospect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's created that is that breeder's pyramid scheme mentality and trying to get money, because you can sell, like on average, you can sell a dog with breeding rights to somebody who doesn't know any better for about double the cost of what a pet home dog was.
Right.
And then if you're like, if you're like me and you're down to sleep on the couch for a month, then you'll give all the dogs away and just breed the best ones.
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
It's up to the breeders, man. It's really up to the breeders. It's the breeders selling it like that, like selling it like an investment.
Yeah,
is what's created this. And I wholeheartedly believe that selling dogs like that is what's created this over the last 10, 15 years. Like I've seen it grow and I've seen it happen, and we see waves of people come in, spend $10, $15, $20,000 on a couple dogs. Yeah. And then what do? They advertise these dogs for these puppies for $8, $10, $12 a piece.
Yeah.
That they end up selling for $1,500 to $2,500 at the end of the day.
Right.
And when they can't sell them, what do? They turn around and they fall out. And then the people that they sold their dogs to for that much come back and try to flip. We see it do waves.
Right.
Revolving door.
So, I mean, in your opinion, because I know you do this because you love the dogs. Like, I'm sure you have a career outside of this, which is, how you support yourself. But, with everybody looking into like you said, these puppies go for this amount and these dogs go for this amount, I'm gonna make this amount of money. Is this actually a business that you can make money off of?
I mean, it's possible. But it's also possible to be the MVP and the leading scorer in the NBA, right? Those are the chances.
Right.
You know what I mean? When we're looking at that, those are your chances. You know what I mean? And people don't just come in, buy a couple dogs, and then go to the top and whack. You know what I mean? People have either marketing backgrounds or already a resume in dogs and kind of know what they're doing with it. But people don't just come in and like knock them out the park like that. You know what I mean? People don't just come in and turn into, leaders of the league. It doesn't happen like that. Like, look at how long this took me to even be like, for even people that want to hear what I had to say.
Right.
And I'm good with it, bro. Like, I'm still learning, you know what I mean? But I'm willing to share my experience. And it's even hard for me to like sit in that seat and like own the Fred Duran thing, and realize that, man, I've been here 15 years. I'm getting gray. These young bucks need, that are 15 years younger than me, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Maybe even 20.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I just turned 38. So I'm saying, like, kids in their early 20s, guys in their, guys barely coming out of high school into college, buying these dogs, and like, like somebody's got to like keep the integrity, like lead by example, really, and be the change that they want to see. And I'll tell you, man, sitting where I'm sitting, it's not an easy thing to do. I've beat my head up against the wall. I've quit multiple times. Like,
I bet.
You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
You go through every emotion.
Oh, bro, I'm telling you, I've quit multiple times and thrown shit at the wall and been, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it. Like, it's a difficult thing, man. But the ones that want it, the ones that want it, the ones that are willing to work hard for it, you always see they're the ones that are still around. The ones that are around 10 years ago working hard, they're still here working hard.
Definitely, man. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but what's next for Primo line, man? What can people expect? I don't know if you want to give away any secrets or any, teasers or, things you might have going on, but, let us know.
No, man, it's an open gate policy over here.
Okay.
I'm just going to continue to enjoy my dog while I can. Nice. He's young. He's still showing. He's doing what he's doing the right things, I think, as a producer. Like, he's given us dogs. He's 3 now, so some of his oldest dogs are coming up on 2, and I'm really starting to see what he's doing, and I'm really, really happy with it. The goal really is to create this consistently now.
Right.
Like, I've created something that I felt like was really ideal for me, that really fit like what I wanted to bring out and represent like my work and my name.
Right.
So now it's a matter of doing what I can do based on like using my experience in the past with breedings and things like that, working like this blood, to try to create it consistently, and try to have a positive impact. And I mean like a real positive impact, not just, I'm going to tell people how to sell dogs and how to do AIs. Like, I really want to like create good dogs and leave a mark with healthy dogs with good conformation and great temperaments that people can love and enjoy, and they're easy to love and enjoy,
Right.
So trying to recreate this and consistently is the thing, but also to have fun and enjoy the process, because I think people are so wrapped up in like in tunnel vision and seeing the end, and so like obsessed over like big gold trophies and big ribbons that we forget to have fun along the way. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just want to enjoy my dog right now and take it as it comes. Like, and just, I don't know, enjoy it, dude. Because before this, it wasn't like, I hadn't produced a dog that I won like best in shows and stuff with. Like, we had Saki, but we didn't produce him. You know what I mean? We won best in shows with Saki. We earned champion title with them and stuff like that. But I didn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't my dog. It was different, you know?
Right.
So to do all this work and like to get there really was like, it was really special for us. So now that we're here with them, I'm just trying to really enjoy it, not get caught up in the pressure of all the, you know, and all the blah, blah, you know what I mean? Online and stuff, and just really just do what we can to help and be us. Like, not, you know, that's the, I don't ever want it to be the me show. You know what I mean? Like me, look at me. It's like, man, to be honest, like, I'm not a religious dude. I'm a spiritual cat. And it's like the favor that we've been shown needs to be highlighted. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my giving back and my like gratitude is paying that forward into our community with love and grace. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So that's really the goal from here out, man. I'm going to continue showing my dog. I'm going to try to breed him. We got a breeding coming up here. Hannah just started her cycle this week, so we're gonna get her and Dooley together, and
I heard
have some pups by the end of the year.
Raul told me he gonna use Dooley as a stud over there at QVNK.
Yeah, he's got some nice girls over there, man. He's got some really nice girls over there.
He was asking me about you because I said, "Hey, have you seen Dooley in person?" He's like, "Nah," but you know, he showed me video. I seen video. Fred been showing me everything I need to see about him. I said, "You did it. You made the right choice, man. I seen the dog in person and definitely made the right choice." And I knew a guy here in Las Cruces, younger kid, man. He was, I think y'all tried to do a breeding, but his female didn't take with the tri-female. Yeah.
Denver Williams. Yeah. Shout out to Denver.
Williams.
Yeah. We did it again. I think I'm pretty sure she took. I think we did it again. Yeah, we repeated it, and I think she took this time. So
nice.
Shout out Denver, man. He's a cool cat.
Yeah, definitely another cool guy. But yeah, man, if you just want to shout yourself out, let everybody know where they can follow you. And just let the world know where they can follow you, basically. Yeah, I'm on
Facebook. It's Fred Duran. Nothing real crazy. And just Instagram. It's the GRCH, the Grand Champion _Fredito with a PH. But yeah, you can. I'm trying to think of like some of the common hashtags that we use, like GRCH mentality. The hashtag, you can catch our page through there. Just GRCH, that'll work too. Bully Bullies, Primo Line Kennels hashtag. You can find us where we're not hard to find, man. Everything's open in public. So
nice.
Do you guys have any questions? Have anything you guys want to tap in? I'm always willing to share my experiences. So feel free to reach out. I try to make myself approachable and try to make it easy, man. So holler at me whenever.
Cool. And I noticed. So what? Dooley's second in best of show wins.
Yeah, he's best in breed. Best in breed. So
best in breed.
He's the number two American bully right now in the ABKC, and that's a big deal for us. You know, to finish in the top 10 is really neat.
Yeah. Hey, and before we go, man, because we're running down like with a minute left, but one of the things that I admire most about you was that when I talked to you at the show, you wanted to compete against the number one American bully. You told me, you were like, "Hey, look, I could have went to any other show and been anywhere else, but I know the number one was going to be here and I wanted to compete against him, man." So I give you big props on that, because a lot of people shy away from competition, but you went straight to it, man. And I think you actually beat him in one show that day, right? In Vegas?
Yeah, man. Shout out to David Martinez. He's really good people, man. I'm a huge fan of his dog. And yeah, man, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And it's not, we can be competitive, we can be friendly. Competition don't got to be nasty, man. I love them. I have a lot of respect for everything they do, man. And I hope that they take that type of stuff as a compliment, because he's a giant.
That's how I meant it. Yeah. I meant it as all love. I didn't mean it you know, but yeah, for sure, man. That's great, man. That's a beautiful dog. Like you said, they got a great looking dog. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on, man. Hey, y'all stay blessed over there, man. Good job with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.